The first time it happened, the air itself seemed to stop moving. Sunlight poured through the tall office windows, bright and unforgiving, and she looked me over from head to toe with a calm that felt heavier than anger. In that moment, I realized I wasn't being judged for who I claimed to be, but for everything I had tried to run from. Her expression didn't soften, didn't harden either. It simply decided. She looked me over and made it clear, without raising her voice or needing drama, that I would not be leaving until she allowed it. That single decision, made in the middle of an ordinary day, became the line that split my life into before and after. Before we go any further, if you believe that kindness can change people, that second chances are sometimes the only thing standing between someone and their worst mistakes, take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope. Comment your thoughts and subscribe to the channel Kindness Touch. Your support keeps stories like this alive. My name is Rayan Ashraf, and until that day, I had mastered the art of disappearing, not physically, but emotionally. I drifted from job to job, city to city, always leaving before anyone could expect something real from me. I had grown up in daylight chaos, the kind where everything looks normal from the outside but feels unstable underneath. A hard-working father who never learned how to stay, a mother who smiled through exhaustion, and a younger sister who learned too early how to be quiet. I learned my lessons fast. Don't depend, don't stay, don't hope too loudly. Hope was dangerous. It made leaving hurt. The job at the community design firm was supposed to be temporary, a daytime contract, a few months at most, helping redesign public spaces in struggling neighborhoods. It looked good on paper and paid just enough to keep moving. I didn't expect to meet anyone who would notice me beyond my work output. That's where she came in. Mira Solis, the director, known for her precision, her fairness, and an unsettling ability to see through people without making them feel exposed. She had a reputation for giving chances, but also for holding people accountable when they tried to waste them. The morning I tried to quit started like any other. Sunlight hit the drafting tables, coffee machines hummed, and the city outside moved at its usual confident pace. I had already packed my bag. A familiar restlessness had crept in after a small mistake on a project, the kind that shouldn't matter but always did to me. My instinct was clear: leave before disappointment turns into judgment. I requested a brief meeting, already rehearsing my polite exit. That's when she looked at me the way a doctor looks at a patient who's been lying about the pain. Not unkind, but firm. She didn't argue, didn't persuade. She simply decided that running was not an option today. The room was bright, alive with daytime sounds, yet I felt pinned in place by her certainty. It wasn't control, it was responsibility. She saw something unfinished and refused to let it be abandoned. What followed was not a lecture, but work. Real work. She reassigned me to a project that required staying late afternoons, visiting sites in full daylight, meeting people whose lives were shaped by the spaces we designed. Playgrounds cracked by neglect, libraries with broken windows, courtyards that once held laughter. She paired me with teams, forced collaboration, forced presence. Every instinct in me resisted. Staying meant being seen. Being seen meant being judged. Judged meant possibly failing. I struggled in ways that felt embarrassingly small. I snapped at teammates. I overcorrected mistakes. I stayed silent in meetings, afraid my ideas would reveal how unsure I was. Each day, sunlight poured in like a witness. There was nowhere to hide. Mira watched without hovering, stepping in only when my self-sabotage threatened the project. She corrected me publicly when needed, praised me briefly when earned, and never allowed excuses to pass as explanations. Slowly, something shifted. Not dramatically, not all at once. Just enough to notice. A child laughed in a newly painted courtyard and waved at us. An elderly man thanked our team for benches placed in the shade. Teammates started asking for my input, and I realized they expected me to be there tomorrow. Daytime stopped feeling like exposure and started feeling like proof. Proof that I could stay and survive it. The real challenge came when the past caught up. My sister called one afternoon, sunlight flashing across my screen as I stepped outside. Our mother was sick again, not critically, but enough to stir old guilt and old habits. The urge to leave roared back stronger than ever. I skipped lunch, avoided meetings, and by the end of the day, I was back in Mira's office, resignation ready. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't trap me with words. She simply asked me to sit and breathe, and then reminded me of every commitment I had already made. To the team, to the project, to myself. She didn't say staying would fix everything. She said leaving would fix nothing. The daylight streamed in, and for the first time I didn't feel trapped. I felt chosen, not because I was special, but because I mattered enough to be held accountable. I stayed. I helped arrange care for my mother without running home permanently. I learned to ask for flexibility instead of escape. The project finished on a warm afternoon, sunlight reflecting off fresh paint and new glass. The community gathered, kids played, adults talked. I stood there, hands dusty, heart steady, realizing I had crossed a line I never thought I could. I had stayed through discomfort and come out stronger. Mira didn't congratulate me with grand words. She simply nodded, the way people do when they trust you now. That trust changed how I saw myself. I stopped planning exits. I signed a longer contract. I started mentoring a new hire who reminded me, painfully, of myself. Daytime became my ally, not my enemy. It showed me who I was becoming. If this story is starting to mean something to you, if you feel that quiet shift inside when someone chooses not to give up on another person, hold on to that feeling. It matters more than we realize. The final day I worked under Mira's direct supervision, the office was bright and loud with life. No dramatic goodbye, just sunlight, movement, and the steady hum of people building something together. As I packed my desk, not to leave but to move into a new role, I understood what she had really done. She hadn't kept me from leaving. She had shown me how to stay. Just before we reach the end, I have a small request. If you've ever wanted to run but chose to stay, comment the word "stay" below. Your words might be exactly what someone else needs to read today. Now, as this story closes, if it touched your heart even a little, if it reminded you that kindness can be firm and love can look like accountability, please like the video, share it, and let us know in the comments how it made you feel. Stories like this live because of you.